Hey,
Hey.
I miss you.
Aw,
Hi, Sarah Elstran. How are you doing today?
really nice. The sun's out and feeling good.
It is out. Do you mind if I sing a theme song at your face?
Yeah, I love it.
Hey, I miss you, and I hope you're doing well. I miss you and hearing your music IRL. So I am thinking that you sing me a song or two. I just sit here in my bathroom saying, hey, I miss you.
It's beautiful, actually.
Thank you. It's a lot of Mr. Rogers watching that's like finally found its output.
Yeah. Ah,
Sarah Elstran, The Nunnery. I'm sitting in my big green bathroom in suburban Minneapolis area, and I'm wondering if you can give us a feel of where you are. I right
this is
now.
my toy kid room nap station for my children in Eau Claire, Wisconsin,
Do you
in
ever
in my
also get
house.
to nap there too?
Sometimes, I guess, in like a chair. It's funny. My desk. This is where my desk happened to be before kids, and now the chair's normally here. So I'm if the chair's in the living room. It's funny. We're
Yeah,
yeah.
it all works. It all works. I like that. I'm gonna snap a Polaroid and say, "How are you right now in this moment?"
Good. I felt we were doing like a little troubleshooting, and
Yeah,
so I feel like I'm like, okay, now the get going feeling.
to get going.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
if that
like
makes
that.
sense at all.
It totally makes no. It totally makes sense. I was impressed. I felt like I couldn't help too much with the troubleshooting, other than be a friendly face on the other side. So uh, you were doing all the hustle, but here we are via the magic of the internet. I'm wondering if you would perform a song for us and tell us why you chose that song.
You were talking about floating gardens, which we'll talk about later, but
Yeah.
I'm actually going to play one, the older one, just because it's simple and sweet, and the sun's out, and I'm excited for spring. So that
Yeah.
is why this one's Sweet Willow Tree.
Yes.
Sweet willow tree, deep river weep, I've got too many eyes taking what I've seen. Deep river bed, so much in this head will take this river down. Floating sweet and sound. Da 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 dum 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 da da 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 Sweet willow tree, deep river weep, I've got too many eyes, taking what I've seen. Deep river bed, so much in this head will take this river down. Floating sweet and sound, sweet willow tree, deep river weep, I've got too many eyes, taking what I've seen. Deep river bed, so much in this head will take this river down. Floating sweet and sound, sweet willow tree, deep river weep, I've got too many eyes to take in what I've seen. Deep river bed, so much in this head will take this river down. Floating sweet and sound.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You got your ears.
Yeah, I know. It's like got one out to listen to the amp. We got a fun rig
Yes.
up happening right now, but
You are killing it with that. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. Is that on We Are the Stars? Yes.
yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. You have a song about where you sing Willow on Floating Gardens too? No?
I I might when I talk about willows.
Do you where you mention the word willow? I'm hearing your another word song with willow. I'm obsessed with willows, so I guess I'm just imposing that upon.
Ooh, I don't know. I
Oh,
definitely talk about trees and
yeah.
mountains.
Do you have a willow?
No, there's just all these parks that I like that I grew up going to that had these willows, and it's kind of like the picturesque view I think of when I'm like near water, and there's like specific parks that I grew up going to that's like my thought.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us. We're going to talk a little bit about more. So generally, people are here with their guitar, just singing in their guitar.
Yeah.
And you did something that's never been done on Hey, I Miss You before, and we're going to get to that. First, I'm going to tell everybody this is Hey, I Miss You. My name is Sarah Morris. I used to have people come and sing in my bathroom as part of something called Toilet Tunes, and it was the most fun, but COVID made it feel too cozy to do that. So over time, I got missing of people, and so I had this vision on a run one morning that I would meet up with people in a virtual space, and they'd sing at my face, and somehow people keep making that vision come true, which is really, really nice, just like
Yeah.
you. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've been dreaming for a while, and I was like, would she say yes? And she did. I'm going to ask you now to tell me something good. Mm-mm. Tell me, tell me, tell me.
So I just tell you something good right now.
Yep. Any something good, big, little, in your world, in the big world. Yeah.
Yeah. My daughter is 4 months, and she just started rolling over, and but now it's like she just started like 3 days ago, and now she can already do like two rolls in the same direction consecutively. It looks hilarious, and she looks like a little scared, but she's she was doing it this morning, and it just looked so hilarious. So
Yeah.
it was a good feeling, being like, you're really doing it.
You are really doing it. And I think, it's been a long time since my kids learned to roll over, and now they don't roll anymore, and I don't roll, and it's like, actually, that looks like it feels good.
Yeah.
I'm
Like when you're
probably,
happy doing it. I've been trying to do
yeah,
it like with her, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't even I don't do this
right?
anymore.
Maybe we should all take a little time later today and practice our rolling.
Rolling, yeah.
It's
I
like a self
agree.
massage. That's very good. Thank you for sharing that with us. This is where I say, in case you missed it, ooh. In case you missed it, this is Sarah Elstran, and you perform as the Nunnery. Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. And I've met you a few times, not much in real life, but I feel like the first time I got to see you perform was early COVID as part of the Valkyrie Music Festival.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like just blown away. And so that's when I started delving into listening more and more and more. I first got to meet you as part of You Were Rocking the Pony Rug series,
Hmm.
which is like a high class local Minnesota like performance thing versus my lo-fi I'm in my bathroom show.
Still great. Still good both ways.
Well, thank you. But I loved the pony rug, and that's where I first got to meet you. But I'm wondering if you'll tell all of us a little bit about your story.
Like from the before beginning or beginning
Well, the
in
beginning, the
general.
beginning. I'm thinking if you would tell us your musical story, that would
Okay.
be a good, yeah.
Where I was born and everything.
Just, walk us all the way back to when you first rolled over and how that went.
Yeah. I have been playing music since I was a kid,
Yeah.
and I wasn't classically trained or anything. I grew up going to church and singing and loving playing with a lot of voices,
Okay.
and started playing like at local coffee shops in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, when I was like 13, 14,
Oh,
and started a band. And I just started the moment I could like really play chords and stuff, I just started writing music. So I don't really remember a time where it wasn't just creating music.
Yeah.
But
Piano or guitar? What was your
it
instrument at
started
the time?
on piano, which I had like some lessons in third grade or something. And then my dad played some guitar. So then I definitely just didn't play piano anymore and just played acoustic guitar for a really long time. And I kind of cycled through between like 14 and then 22. I was playing like indie folk rock music for a while and had a series of different groups.
Hmm.
And yeah, you're saying you knew about this, but my guitar got stolen and then out of my car while I was at a different show in Minneapolis, and all I had at my house was a Jam Man looper, which is a single looper, and a microphone and an amp, and I just started playing with it, and um, yeah, just kind of became, I guess, kind of what this is now, uh, out of necessity. And at the
Yeah.
same time, my band was like they were moving to Nashville and different places. I had like a four or five piece band at that time.
Okay.
So it was kind of a funny timing of like starting a solo project without intentionally wanting to do that. And
Hmm.
this just kind of continued to happen very unintentionally.
Yeah. So just to dial it back, you are looping. Like that's what's happening right now. That's what it's called. Like for anyone who might be queuing, like turning in and just saying like, oh, we just saw her press a button. You're singing something and then you're capturing it and then you're singing to that capture. Is that
Yes,
you?
absolutely.
Okay. And it had fun lights and colors that I could just barely see. Is
Oh,
that,
I should push it down. But yeah, it's
is,
like has the different, yeah, that is, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't know what I was doing.
so that's like your new, what you must bring with you everywhere. Is that
Yeah,
part of your setup everywhere you go?
yeah. These accessories. It's funny, I just started like last week starting to play like a guitar song in my set. And I don't know if I'm going to continue to do it, but I just really miss writing on the guitar
Yeah.
and want to kind of segue into it. But um, yeah, this has been my life is just like loops with I don't like use any pre-samples for anything. So
Okay.
everything in the songs are always made in real time, which is fun and also challenging in its own way for me.
Yeah, it sounds like multitasking gone wild, like in the best
Yeah.
way. Um, and like there would need to be for my brain like an element of shutting out the whole world to stay in that zone. Is that, do you
Yeah.
have that experience, or are you able to kind of be porous to the moment?
It's both because when I'm doing like let's say I just made a song and I'm performing it for the first time on the looper, and
Hmm.
I really it's exactly like that. Like I can't think about anything else except my memory of how it's going. But then there's songs I've been playing for 7+ years now. I don't really have to think about all of them like memorizing parts for it. It just kind of comes, and it's really fun at some point because I can just improvise on top of a already known song.
Yeah.
So it's like if you were to play your favorite like chorus line and then just like leave it there and then like do some freestyle jazz on top or anything like that. But then in shows, I intentionally usually try to do a completely improvised song, which specifically has to do with how I'm feeling in a space and trying to capture all of like what I'm feeling in that moment and
Mm.
somehow translating it to the looper at the time. So that's
That's
fun.
amazing. When did you release your first album as in here's my actual question. Did you switch to the Nunnery like immediately, like as soon as you began performing in this realm? Did you
Yeah,
know that you wanted a name for
kind
the
of, because
project?
it felt weird. I didn't. None of the songs were translated, so yeah, it was just like a new project. And my roommate named the Nunnery at the time. He was saying we were like talking about Montessori's and monk and chamber music, and because that's kind of more so what it sounded like in the beginning. And we're like, it's just like a little bit too masculine. And he's like, oh, you should call it the Nunnery. And I was like, nah, I'm never gonna play with this live. Like, I really had a strong feeling I didn't want it to be. I was like embarrassed basically
Mm,
because it didn't sound it didn't sound as good as it now. Like accepting your own voice and cycling through like hearing it. So I didn't have effects or anything. So it's very like
okay.
dry and like choral music right up in your face, which is cool, but it was really intense. And I got asked to do some shows and then just went with that name right away because yeah, it'd have been weird to call it the other band stuff because that band was ending. And
Yeah.
yeah, so, and you were asking first album, which was funny too because I was just playing a show, a DIY house show, and they made an event for it, and it was just titled Nunnery album release show, and it was like 3 weeks before the show, or maybe 2 weeks, and I wasn't planning on releasing an album, and I was like, well, maybe I can record an album in like 2 weeks, and then
Really?
and then ended up making an album in 2 weeks for that show.
That's amazing.
It really kicked me into high gear of like, oh yeah, why not? I got songs.
That's phenomenal. So both like becoming someone who is looping as their primary instrument and the name and then the album was all just like kind of like happened.
Yeah, none of it was like I'm gonna do this thing. It's gonna be cool, or that people will like it. It was more just like, oh yeah, I guess this is what I'm gonna try now. Sure, it's music. Like, kind
Yeah.
of, it was just really different than I hadn't seen anything like it really.
Right. I was going to ask you if you had people that you would listen to in this realm that sort of like led you, I don't know, that kind of kickstarted the dreaming for you. It's an inelegant question the way I just asked that. But do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
who were you listening to that informed this at all? If there was, I mean,
yeah. I think it's just like a lot of world music. I love world music, and
mm-hmm,
a lot of it. I don't know what they're saying, or there's just like a chorus line that they're just saying like three words over and over again
mm-hmm,
in a different language, or um, a lot of percussive stuff. And I think that initially is what I really, really was influenced on. And I would get like, as a kid, like get the CDs from the library of like world musicians, and it was just a compilation CD. And
mm-hmm.
I think I had like five of those, and that's were probably my favorite things. And I, as a kid, didn't even know a lot of the names because you'd burn them, and I wouldn't like I wasn't smart to copy the thing on the computer. So people would be like, "Oh, who made this?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. It was from this
Right.
like mix CD." And yeah. So a lot. That's like a very funny answer because I'm not giving you like a real name, but I
Oh,
also really loved like just like a lot of classic music, like classic rock and jazz and um, like tons of pop music, just inevitably from liking music. And
yeah.
um, but specifically, I really liked Bobby McFerrin.
Hmm.
He's probably one of my favorite like vocalists,
Yeah.
and definitely Aretha Franklin, and just a bunch of, yeah, tons of vocalists with just really like individual, unique personality through their voice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of somebody more modern that kind of did. I saw Lot Leah play live a really long time ago, and at the same time I saw her, I just started messing with my looper.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking like, oh, okay, because she loops violin, and I hadn't seen that too much, and was really impressed about just the flow of what she did. And I remember chatting with her way back when, like, it's weird I do this with my voice. Do you think that's like, what do you think? She's like, that would be really interesting. It was like really encouraging because she's like, I don't really like looping my voice and stuff. And like, it was nice to talk so early on about that.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of anyone else who like did it, like, ooh, I'm gonna do that. But it was more so I just had to. I think a lot of people are really like they find a sound they're trying to mimic, and I was like really concentrating on how to like what was coming out more so than making it sounding like anything else I've heard.
I love that. I love that.
I hope that's continue. It's easy to be like, I mean, we're all influenced no matter what.
No, I think it's such a beautiful lighthouse, though, is like striving to meet your own like preferences and
Yeah.
what lights you up, and I think that's a it's a beautiful thing. You released "We Are the Stars" in 2019, which the first song you sang was on, and then you had a baby in pandemic. Then you had another baby, and you released an album. Did I get the order right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
And you released that album that you recorded totally at home by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wrote down "whoa" in my notes. So can you just tell us a tiny bit about how you made that happen? That's that's amazing.
It felt like I wasn't doing it for a long time because I actually planned originally on getting the album done before my first kid. And it was like,
Okay.
that was my goal. It's like, okay, I'm going to get this album done. And it ended up just nothing was coming naturally. I just felt really forced. And I was in transition of buying a house. And then I obviously prepping for like baby number one. And yeah, they just postponed it. But I kind of put a lot of like beginning points of songs.
Okay.
And then it was like a year and a half later finished that. But I really didn't push myself being I had moments where I like was like small goals, like I'm just going to finish this one song. But it was interesting because I was having my brother-in-law Nicholas. He was mixing, and a lot of these songs, kind of the process of them were changed through the mixing parts.
Okay.
So I'd never done it where it was mixed and then I would come back and actually make more of the song. So it was a really different method, and which took a lot longer too. But it was also I just spent a lot more time with each song, and that was really nice. But yeah, I really like this album because it was, I think, because of how long I spent with each individual song, and I just wanted to come up with something that I was like, each song kind of says something to me, and like it, I just like it. It's like funny to say, like what I was saying before. It's like the goal is that like, do I want to listen to that? If that like was just randomly on the radio or you're hearing it in passing, would you be like, oh, that sounds nice? And I kind of wanted to capture that of what maybe I would want, and hopefully other people liked it too. So that was the goal. And I had the album done when I had my second child, but I just released it a little later, and I was like, okay, did it. But it felt to me, I was like not doing it. Like I wasn't like, yeah, when I was making it, it was more like, oh, I tried doing this like a year ago, and then another thing happened, and I gave myself a lot of like breaks though of just like you don't have to do this at all. Like it's okay if you're not feeling it, and um, I think everybody dealt with such crazy stuff during the last few years, and you know,
Yeah, I think so. No, but it's so good to hear that message of it's hard to give that message to yourself sometimes. I find, like it's okay. You don't have to, like, but that's a really, I mean, that's what I'd want to offer to a friend, right? And so if I'm
yeah,
going to offer to a friend, I want to offer it to myself. I love that you were offering it
yeah.
to
It's
yourself.
it's very real. Like if any, I learned a lot about how to because we had to stay at home for so long, and sometimes your home isn't really where you feel the most comfortable. Like I love being outside. It's just I would if I can get outside every day, it's like a really like that could be just my goal in life is to exit the house every single day.
Yeah.
But it's I think a lot of people felt like they were in a way insignificant to like the daily ritual, and bringing that into art is always really odd, and it could be a really beautiful thing that comes from that. And I think that's what is happening right now. A lot of people are producing a lot more art and realizing like, well, we do absolutely still need this, and I have always. And but I think it's been nice to live in the media age where we can not feel so isolated with still being home and stuff. And that was really helpful to
Yeah.
want to finish this, because, or just make music still in general. So that was like really wonderful. And what you're doing is great too. Like this whole thing. So yeah.
Trying to get to hang out with people. Have you been able to take Floating Gardens out and perform a little bit? It looked like yes. The
Yeah.
tiny bit of stalking I did online.
I've slowly, because I was doing a lot more shows in the summer outside. And
Yes.
then things have been like the curve now, and we're
Hmm.
not sure, but I'm optimistic about playing more. I don't even know how to play some of the songs live still. It's because of the way I wrote it. I
Yeah.
know how to like kind of get the foundation, but I'm like still learning like how to do it myself, which is really interesting.
Sure, because I would imagine I mean, like, tell me where I go wrong, but like you're able to lay down layers at a time, and because you have two wee ones, but at the time of recording, a wee person who's not going to necessarily stay quiet while you finish your song, like you might lay down a layer, then you might go rock a child,
Yep.
then
It's
you
been
might
like
go
that a lot.
wash a dish, then you might go lay down a layer, and that can allow for some really beautiful space in recording, but that muscle memory that you clearly have when you're performing, maybe that comes with time.
Yeah. Uh, the children dynamic is 100% like different with everything, and it's fun. It's like I think everybody goes to that point when they say their parents, like it's 100% more rewarding, but you're also like it's way harder.
It's
And it's true, and I love it, and it's great. And I'm in the phase too. I have two kids under 2 years old, and so it's a lot of like super hands-on times. I really did want to do the whole like strap a baby on my chest and just play live,
yeah,
and but shows just weren't happening. And now that I had my daughter in October, and then I played a show 5 days postpartum, which was really funny.
that's
I just like
amazing.
wanted to,
Yeah,
but we were
okay.
outside, and I like didn't have. She was strapped on my husband's like stomach, but it was pretty cold, and there's like we weren't there for very long. But I was like, we did it. We like did a show with our kids like we wanted to, and there's been like little fun. I like trying things like that sound ridiculous. It's like, why did you play that soon? And I was like, I was really overdue. I didn't think I was gonna be 5 days.
Sure. I had the Ergo baby carrier, and I remember, I mean, I carried my son on that thing until he was like 18 months for sure. So your dream, it's still alive.
It can still
Like,
happen. Yeah.
it's for sure. You can do that
My
all summer long.
yeah, my kids love music, and yeah, juggling both of it. It's great. Our house is really tiny, and but my kids love music. Like they
That's good.
absolutely like my son loves dancing, and
Mm.
he really likes drums, and it's in this space. It's we've made it happen and work, but um, I'm glad to like had made the music now. So now it's more just like when I
Yeah.
can find those slots of like when they nap, I try to play music now, which is funny because I've like conditioned them to get used to noise,
Yeah.
so they don't wake up with me
Yeah.
playing. So
That's awesome.
I have to be really intentional about like they go to sleep, and then I'm like vacuuming, like
I
making
think there's
noise.
like a conditioning. Ours was dog barking. Like they were so used to dog barking. And so people were like, oh no, the dog's going to wake. Nope. They think that's
No,
like,
yeah,
that's
that's
just sound.
comforting.
That's life. I grew up on a very busy street, and I remember going to like sleepovers at friends' houses that didn't have like tons of cars zooming by, and I was like, it's so quiet here.
Yeah, it's like too quiet.
What's happening? What's happening? I'm yes. Okay, I wrote down so many things, but I want to say you do have a show coming up soon that people can attend.
Yeah.
Can you tell us briefly about that? Because I wrote down April 3rd at the Parkway, which is in Minneapolis, live scoring film with Al Church. And I know what who Al Church is. I do not know what live scoring film even means. So
Yeah.
please.
He's been doing this thing for a while. I've done 2 with him now
Okay.
where we're all watching a film, so we're faced towards the film, not towards the audience.
Okay.
And it's a silent film. In they're usually very, very old ones that no one's probably heard of. And we just make music on the fly. So we are improvising the whole time to the film, and then people watch. And it's super fun because, yeah, we kind of don't know what's going to happen either. And we can, Al usually watches the movie beforehand. Um, I didn't with either of the ones we went
Yeah.
through, which was, I think, more fun and fresh because then I just acted more on impulse and didn't like wait for the thing to in advance. But yeah, that's what it is. It's just live. It's like the old way they did films where they had an orchestra or whatever, but we're just doing things with some electronic stuff. He plays the electric guitar typically and sings sometimes, and I'll do what I'm doing with a lot more funky effects.
So it's just the two of you
I
responding
think,
to each other and to the film.
yeah, for this one,
It's
it
amazing.
and he usually does do it with a big band, but I think he thought it'd be fun this time just to wing it with the both of us.
That's beautiful. So that's April 3rd, and I will link to, I'll put tickets in the show notes so that
Cool.
people can go. Okay, I am wondering if you would sing us another song.
This one is Floating Gardens, the
Yeah.
title track of that one.
Yeah.
I fell into water in the current cold, drifting through all the colors, passing blue and gold. Living can be your reason, or perhaps your thoughts. I can't leave your season, but the time won't stop. You wonder why, how to unfold. 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 I've been living true, and I find myself loving you. And the time is well. I've been living true, and I find myself loving you. And the time is well. You wonder why, and the time is well. You wonder why, how to unfold. I love you with passion, and all your affection. I love you with passion, and all your affection. I love you with passion, and all your affection. in all your affection. I love you with passion, in all your affection. I believe in true, and I find myself loving you, and the time is when, the time is when I dreamed of a garden in a clear moonlight. The leaves seem to harden and begin to fly as they float through the night over mountain tops. Gardens framed its heaven, and it just can't stop. I love you with passion, it just can't stop. In all your affection, I dreamed of a heaven. You love me with passion.
So good. I'll let you get both earbuds in.
Good, good.
Yeah. I ran through puddles, icy puddles to that song today.
Aw.
So it sounded like summer. That and whirlpool ride, like they sound like summer. So even as my tennis shoes getting uncomfortably wet, I was still fine. Like it really helps. I've been living true. Yes. Okay. Um, I really encourage everybody to go and listen to Floating Gardens. And We Are the Stars. Just get all the Nunnery going because I think it's so fantastic to watch you do this live, and it's also so fantastic to get to like have it earbudding all to yourself. I'm so excited. Okay, I am wondering if you could spin us out. Take us by the ears, spin us out to someone that you're listening to right now that you're finding interesting. It's making your ears hot.
Aldous Harding, usually, and
Okay.
she's been like on my top listen list for a long time, but she's about to come out with a new album, and I love it. She's from New Zealand, and if you like Kate Bush, or there's
Did you say
a few others.
Aldous?
Aldous.
Like ALDOUS?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. I will link to that so that people can get spun out.
Yeah.
And then I will go listen. That's like one of my favorite parts of the show is I get to discover like things I would never listen to otherwise. So thank you. I'm wondering if you could give everybody watching today an action item. Action item. What is one thing they can do to follow you?
Is it funny to say go to shows?
That's a beautiful thing.
when I do play them.
No, that's beautiful. The best way to find out about your shows is your website, would you say? Or like a social or
I
something?
should be posting it on my. That's a good reminder for me because I haven't been playing shows regularly.
Yeah.
So I have got to put them on there recently. But I am pretty good at Facebook and Instagram to post shows on there.
Okay. So I'm going to put go to shows as the action item, but I'm going to also then say go to the Facebook because that's how they'll get to the shows.
And that means I gotta play shows. So that's like a goal for me.
Yeah. It sounded to me, listening to you talk about your love for the outside, that if someone like that hopefully there'll be a lot of that in your summer future.
Yeah, I'll play yards and whatever. I'm outside. It's great.
Yards are the best shows ever. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah. I really appreciate it. It is this like similar to you. You're making music that you enjoy listening to. I have loved that this show means that I get to have tiny private concerts for like myself.
Yeah.
I just want to listen to that song in like real time that I've been listening to on my runs. And so thanks for making that happen. I need to thank my patrons because they make all my making possible. Those are good humans, the Sarah subscribers. And I want to thank everyone for watching. We'll be back. We're here every Friday at noon. And so I'll be back again next week with another guest. And in the meantime, Sarah, thank you so much. Can I sing that theme song one more time at you? Hey, I miss you. And I hope you're doing well. I miss you and hearing your music IRL. So I am thinking that you sing me a song or two. I just sit here in my bathroom saying, hey, I miss you. Hey, I miss you. And I hope you're doing well. I miss you and hearing your music IRL. So I am thinking that you sing me a song or two while I just sit here in my bathroom saying, hey, I miss you.